Good morning and welcome everyone to the Money Control live stream. You have tuned in to a fresh episode of Markets with Santo and CJ. Well guys, although it's the start of a new week, if I were you, I would not want this week to start, given the battering that awaits this market, Santo.
Well, it still continues to be a very tricky market, CJ. It's not giving a breakout on either side. You've continuously seen this move between 16,800 and 17,500. But an interesting thing here, CJ, now that you're talking about battering, Warren Buffett made a very interesting comment last week, and just check out the money control story on that and key takeaways from the Berkshire annual meeting. And in fact, he made a reference to, the stock market having become some kind of a den of gamblers, and typically Wall Street tends to make money when a lot of people are gambling. So I guess a lot of those gamblers could be slowly beating a hasty retreat from the market.
Well, gamblers or speculators have always been there, Santo. They were there in 2020, they were there in 2008, they were there in 2000, they were there in 1991, in 87, I can go on and on and on. Well, let's just remember, if you only buy and hold, then people like you and I will not have a job, right? Markets will not need to open every day. We could just buy one day, decide that we'll meet over drinks, buy and sell the stocks that we want to, and then go away. Speculators are the liquid. Speculators are the grease that runs the market, and if they are not there, as much as you want to look down upon them, they are as important as the your
fair point, CJ. I'll buy that.
And now coming back to what actually matters, it seems like we are in for a very bad start to the week, and it is very likely that by the end of the session we might be in correction territory for the second time this year. And man, it's only May. It's only May. We still have what, 7 months to go in this year, and we are already down 10% from record highs for the second time this year.
Well, there's another way of looking at it. So even if you had a poor first 5 months, there is still 7 months where the market can recoup those losses. But that said, CJ, the point I was making last week, the adage, sell in May and go away, has held true at least 8 times out of 10. So probably what you're seeing is also a bit of a seasonal effect. That being the case, there is still no disputing the kind of overhang that the market is grappling with.
Well, May has only started, so let's not get ahead of ourselves. What we need to now look into are the stocks that are going to be in action in today's session.
Yes. So starting off with insurance stocks, New India Assurance and General Insurance Corporation, both stocks saw huge jump in terms of price on Friday. But I think, CJ, from the look of it, this seems to be driven more by sentiment rather than any improvement.
Or maybe people were driven by the sentiment that Buffett is buying insurance stocks once again. So maybe we should also go and
I think more to do with LIC at this point in time. So if you look at again divergent trends there. So if you look at New India Assurance, the stock is in fact closer to its 52-week low, and on all technical parameters, it's showing a bearish sign. So this is not the stock that one could probably jump into at this point. General Insurance Corporation, on the other hand, the fundamentals are slightly better than that of New India Assurance, but again no great shakes there. But the good thing is that on the technical charts, the stock is looking on a much firmer footing.
Well, one stock where people might want to jump into is Yes Bank. Well, the comeback kid continues to deliver, as it has churned out an annual profit for the first time in 2 to 3 years. The Q4 earnings were very, very robust, almost on all fronts. We've seen an improvement in asset quality, further improvement in asset quality actually. Slippages, or basically loans that turn into bad loans, have also declined on a sequential basis. So a lot of the earnings metrics are looking very positive, and now the entire attention of investors would be on the induction of possibly new investors into the lender. We have heard news of certain big private equity firms being interested in taking up stake in Yes Bank, and possibly that could be the trigger for next re-rating in this comeback journey for Yes Bank.
Well, I'd be a little careful about that, news of new investors being inducted. I think that chatter has been doing the round for quite some time.
It has. It's been almost 3 to 4 months that we have been waiting for that announcement. Let's see where the buck stops on that one.
Well, Wipro, the next stock on our radar. Now, the Q4 earnings was a bit of a disappointment there. Yeah. However, overall analysts are positive on the stock. They feel that the company, the growth momentum is pretty much there. However, they've been cutting both the earnings forecast as well as price targets for the stock. And again, if you look at the F&O segment, there is a huge buildup of short positions in Wipro, a big jump in short positions there as indicated by the open interest. So this is a stock probably which could come under some more pressure, at least in the short term.
Probably in the short term, but still remains a very good story from a longer term perspective, given that most analysts you speak to and even fund managers you speak to, they remain very bullish on the 3 to 4 year journey of IT sector, given that we are seeing strong demand for cloud transformation, digital transformation deals, and the deal momentum for Wipro also remained quite robust in the March quarter. So therefore, yeah, probably this is an opportunity to buy the dips on Wipro, who knows.
Well, the overall market doesn't seem to be a buy on dips right now. It seems to be more of a sell on rally. So
who cares about the overall markets? We care about Wipro. Anyway, talking about, one stock, mimicking Mr. Buffett, you talked about the Money Control article, and in that article, Money Control, the author Asha Menon tried to, look into some of the stock plays that could be replicated in India. Buffett has bought stocks in the home improvement space, in hardware computing space. Of course, we don't have all of those sort of companies in India, but in the home improvement space, it was interesting. The article mentioned one stock that was very interesting is Kajaria Ceramics. Okay. Now, if you look at the near-term trend of Kajaria Ceramics, I mean, you would not probably go near that stock right now because it's down about 20% in 2022 so far. But that also means that valuations have become attractive, because let's remember that the overall growth story or the overall story for real estate, home improvement remains quite strong. I mean, we had Deepak Parekh telling Money Control in an interview which has come out just earlier today that he has not seen demand for real estate like this in 44 years of his career. So that goes to show the sort of runway there is for Kajaria Ceramics to grow into. And lastly, analysts still remain quite bullish on Kajaria Ceramics. Despite the 20% downturn, they still expect about 20% upside from the current levels on the stock. So that is one stock that people should keep their eyes on.
Well, comparing home improvement stocks in US and in India, they are like somewhat comparing apples and oranges, I would say. Well, also, the 20% correction since the start of this year also kind of reflects the growth concerns that the market may be having. All these stocks had a fantastic run, no doubt, CJ.
Yeah.
Now, probably even as the overall outlook on real estate remains quite strong, it remains to be seen if you could see the same kind of booster for home improvement stocks as well. Coromandel International, the next stock on our radar, good set of fourth quarter earnings, and the stock is also looking quite good on the technical charts. It was among the big gainers on Thursday, but Friday it came under a bit of profit taking. Overall, the outlook for the fertilizer segment still remains strong. Margins have been good, with the government now stepping in with higher subsidies so as to shield farmers from rising costs. I think fertilizer companies should be able to deliver good numbers, and Coromandel International is certainly one of them.
Well, one company where everything is under doubt is HDFC right now, right? I spoke about the interview that Mr. Parekh gave to Money Control earlier today, and in that interview, it was very interesting that Mr. Parekh indicated that there is no backing out anymore. We know for a fact that the stock has come under pressure since announcement of the merger. On April 4th, we saw that rally of 10%, but since then the stock is down about 19 to 20% in the past close to a month now. And the one thing that really stood out for me was this quote where he says that, I think, and I quote, "I think we will have a good big bank and a very successful organization. We will proceed with this merger whatsoever. There is no going back." So those who were hoping probably that after the battering that the stocks have taken, both HDFC Bank and HDFC, that there could be some sort of a rethinking on part of the management. Well, you guys are in for a major disappointment. That said, Parekh has indicated that right now all investors can do is be patient and keep calm and trust us. And if there is one person you want to trust in this financial sector, it is probably Deepak Parekh. The company is going to announce its Q4 earnings later today, and I am betting that the earnings call that is going to come is going to be probably the most important in Mr. Parekh's career that he would have ever held.
I think, CJ, the concerns more were relating to HDFC Bank rather than HDFC, because I think HDFC, from the look of it, it was seemed to be getting a better deal than HDFC Bank.
Yeah, but they were the one who initiated the merger, right? So if anybody who will have to back out, it will probably be HDFC. And now that they are going to merge into HDFC Bank, they will probably have to talk on both sides, right? They will have to allay concerns on both sides.
Gujarat Gas, the next stock on our radar. Now, overall sentiment for gas stocks is pretty weak at this point in time. Prices have been rising, gas prices have been rising, and that's had an impact on demand as well as the margins of all companies in this sector. Now, Gujarat Gas in particular took a bit of a pounding on Friday. It fell very sharply. There's also this report by Credit Suisse which sounded quite bearish on all gas stocks. Big problem for Gujarat Gas at this point is that it largely caters to the industrial users. Yes. And as a result of it, it doesn't get that quota of administered gas at administered prices from the government, and it has to buy from the spot and then sell it to industrial consumers, and that is where demand has been hurting. Huge buildup of short positions in the futures segment, so probably you could see the stock being under pressure for some more time.
Yeah, probably one of the rare instances where I'll agree with your bearishness, Santo. But one stock where probably we might see a change in sentiment is Tanla Platforms. The company came out with a strong set of Q4 earnings. We saw the net profits rising about 37% on a year-on-year basis, and sales rose by 32%. Yes, sequentially there has been a degrowth of single-digit degrowth in both revenues and net profit, but that is largely due to seasonal factors that the company usually sees in the March quarter. That said, the stock is down about 24% in 2022, and even if you look at some of the technical indicators that Money Control Pro tracks, even according to that, there is still impending bearishness in this stock, at least in the near term. But if you look at the earnings momentum that the management has been sustained, it could be possible that today, the earnings performance that has come out for Q4 could be the turning point for the stock, given the sort of correction it has seen.
CDSL, well, this stock should be right up your street.
Absolutely, well.
So this is a direct play on the growing number of Robin Hoods, so-called Robin Hoods in the market. And the fourth quarter numbers were quite strong, close to about a 51% rise in net profit, and for the year, the annual profits were also about 65% higher. So clearly the huge rush of retail investors into the stock market is reflecting in the numbers, earnings numbers of CDL, although the stock has been again struggling of late. It had a great last year it did really well, but since then there's been signs that investors don't want to assign such a high valuation multiple.
I think, Santo, one of the reasons also why the stock has been a little patchy off late is largely because there are some doubts emerging whether it can sustain the sort of growth that it has seen over the past 2 years. But if you go by the sort of numbers that have come in terms of demand for Q4, if you talk to other brokerages, the user addition has been pretty strong, and therefore at least the visibility on CDSL still remains quite strong.
It's very interesting, CJ, when you look at it, you have, asset management companies and all the direct plays. Other than broking, none of the other sectors seem to be doing that well, despite the boom in equity market that we're seeing.
Equity mutual funds are still seeing a good amount of inflows.
No, I'm saying about the companies, the HDFC Asset Management, Nippon. It is not translating into stock price performance.
I think probably that has a lot to do with the fact that the bet here is largely that a lot of the retail investors are coming in want to go directly into the market, because equity mutual funds, let's be honest, over the past 4 to 5 years, they have not been as great a performer as probably the wider market has been. If you directly invested, probably you would be better off than being in an index fund or maybe some sort of a large cap equity scheme. So therefore, probably that is the concern on some of these AMC stocks that you mentioned. Yeah. Moving on, the last stock on my radar is Solara Active Pharma, guys. Stock is likely to take a pounding today, because their Q4 earnings were pretty bad. Secondly, another managing director of the company has resigned. This is the second managing director who has resigned in this year, along with the CFO of the company who exited last month. And I mean, things are not looking very pretty, and it seems that the trust in the promoters is also shrinking by the day. So this stock will be in for a pounding today.
Eris Life Sciences.
The market has opened, I think.
Yes, I think before we go on to Eris, a very bearish start. Nifty
very
is down
bearish.
About 177 points as we speak, and Nifty Bank is down about 1%. Sensex is down about 1%. It's down 536 points.
Yeah, look at some of the stocks: SBI Life Insurance, Bajaj Finserv, Bajaj Auto, Bajaj Finance, HDFC. These are the laggards that are leading the market. Some very heavyweight names there. Hero Motocorp is down about 1.5%. Remember, the company saw about a month-on-month decline in its volumes for April, so probably that is the reason leading the losses on Hero Motocorp.
SBI Life down about 2%. Bajaj Finance has taken a pounding again.
Yes,
the stock is down by
has.
2%. The blockbuster earnings really didn't help its cause.
Absolutely, and HDFC Bank is again down 1.4%. I mean, among the banks, it's the heaviest loser right now, along with ICICI Bank as well. ICICI Bank, which is actually seen as the new kingpin of the banking sector, is also taking a beating in this sell-off.
Interestingly, Wipro, despite the earnings miss, it's holding on well in this bearish market. It is up by close to about 0.2%.
Anyway, that's it, Santo. Aaj andar ki khabar.
So, Eris Life Sciences saw a block deal close to about 30 lakh shares, a block of 30 lakh shares change hands on Friday. The seller as well as the buyer both were long-term investors in the seller was an HNI.
You can't make much out of that in that sense.
HNI was the seller of the 30 lakh lot, shares. Whereas FII, who's already invested in the company, picked it up. The interesting thing is, typically block deals, the deals of this size are always negotiated, which means that the price at which the seller
will already be paid.
The price at which the seller sells it and the one at which the buyer buys it has to be same. But again, here in this case, there is a bit of a gap. So we are wondering whether somebody had the advance information and managed to pocket it and then sell it back to the buyer at a higher price.
Somebody was front running, I guess. That said, it's time to let you get on with your day. But we will catch you back live at 3 p.m. with the entire day's action.
Yeah, and also check out this Money Control interview with Sanjeev Mehta, CEO and MD of HUL. He's made some interesting points.
Very interesting comment. I mean, he has talked about the crude palm oil crisis. He talked about inflation and rural demand slowdown, and the lessons that he has learned over the past 2 years, and some very interesting decision-making tips there. So yeah, something to really catch out, you guys.
Yeah. Thank you, and with that, it's a wrap.
Yes, and please post your comments on the feedback section. Do let us know what stocks you would like us to, talk about in the coming episodes, and also follow us on the social media links at the bottom of your screen. We'll catch you live very soon. Have a great day ahead. Thank you.